Alright, so we got the 1128 spoilers, and we're seeing the sun god in this chapter. The sun god of Elbaf, or the current sun god. This isn't like sun god Nika, which Luffy's Gear 5 represents. This is something entirely different, but probably pulling from the same origin, for sure. The chapter starts in Big Stein Castle. Sanji carries Nami and jumps down from the castle with Luffy, Zoro, and Usopp. They arrive to the land below, and we can see that the entire kingdom is made of Lego pieces, with the huge Yggdrasil's tree in the middle. Zoro explains that he woke up at the other side of town, and then he followed the noise to find Luffy defeating the giant rabbit. Luffy says Usopp that he should be able to defeat the lion on his own, and Usopp replies that he was in a panic since he woke up while being eaten by the cat. So yeah, this is all picking up from the previous chapter, where the Straw Hats did defeat these quote-unquote god figure animals, as well as reuniting with Nami and Usopp at the end of the chapter, completely taking out that lion cat. And this is like immediately picking up after that, where now they're essentially trying to figure out what they're going to do next. Usopp says this kingdom is not Elbaf, since their giant warrior outfits are normal. So the Straw Hat crew decides to go to the giant town to ask people what is happening. On the way to the town, they encounter a normal-sized bearded guy wearing giant outfits, riding a giant grasshopper. He says, "Oh, you guys are new here, right? This is the land of the gods." Bearded guy explains that this is a country ruled by God. Ear God, which is the rabbit, the spike god, the hedgehog, and Iskat, which is the cat that rules the castle. Bearded guy says recently there's also the incident of Ear God that being burned to death outside of town, and Luffy says, my bad, Usopp covers Luffy's mouth before Luffy talks too much, while Zoro, Nami, and Sanji are whistling and looking the other way to hide that they killed the rabbit. The bearded guy says that if you're hungry, you can just come by our town and get some rations, but you can't go to the other side of the castle. And Luffy says, why? Bearded guy says the sun god's temple is there, and it's guarded by ferocious guardians. No one has ever approached the temple and returned to tell the tale. Nami says, wait, don't phrase it like that, or he will. And Luffy says, When Luffy hears the bearded guy's words, his face changes to a very funny facial expression and runs right to the sun god's temple. Zoro got interested when he hears that there's going to be guardian beasts, and he runs with Luffy. Sanji scolds Zoro for always going with Luffy's flow. As Luffy is running, he wonders why the road seems so long and the entire kingdom looks so wide. But suddenly he hits something invisible and it breaks. It's revealed to be a giant mirror. The sky and wide scenery they see are all mirror reflection. The people in Lego Town are shocked to see the sky crack above them. Luffy crosses that mirror and falls to the floor. After the mirror is broken, it's revealed that the entire Lego Kingdom is a model/diorama placed in a giant's room. The diorama is inside a huge cage covered with glass. From inside the glasses are mirrors, but from outside look like a fish tank. We can see the inside from the outside. The cage takes up a large part of the room, from top to bottom, and the front part of the cage has a huge grill with a door, which is the size for a giant. In the room, there are some furniture too, like a giant wood table, and on top of the table there are fabrics, threads, and a giant sewing machine. We can see a lot of Lego pieces dispersed in the floor of the room where Luffy fell. The Straw Hat crew is in shock. Nami says, what's going on? Sanji says, if there are giants living on this side, it would be as if we are some pets being given an elaborate cage. Nami says, it can't be. And then a mysterious person says, hey, what's that noise? Are you on my side? Help me. That mysterious voice is Chopper, that is captive outside the cage in the giant wood table. Zoro releases him, and Chopper, crying, hugs Nami. Usopp and Zoro examine all the stuff in the table, and Luffy does the same in the floor. Zoro says a room built for giants, but with human-sized clothing. I suppose it's like changing clothes for dolls, huh? And Usopp says, it makes me wonder if that sun god is a really delicate person. Luffy says, this room is full of those blocks. And Sanji says, yeah, this land is full of them. The reason the smell was unbearable when we roasted the rabbit was due to all the synthetic resin burning with it. The Straw Hat crew look around, and Sanji assumes that the giant room is the sun god's temple. Zoro says people in the costume that live in the diorama town are like pets for the sun god to observe them through the glass. Suddenly, 2 new giant animals appear in the giant room. A giant snake that its name is based on the world serpent in Norse mythology, and a giant raven with a skull on its head, whose name is a mix of Odin's ravens from Norse mythology. Luffy and the others fight against them, wrecking stuff of the room and making the room catch fire. Cut to the outside of the room and we see that the sun god is walking down a corridor towards the room. It has a Z symbol on the door. The sun god is a giant, far larger than any normal giant we have seen so far except for Oars. But we can't see yet if the sun god is a man or woman. Sun god is a slim giant that wears a black long tunic and a deer skull with big antlers and a mane that covers his or her face. And the sun god is a staff and shield with the sun symbol. The sun god notices that smoke and noise are coming from the room, so the sun god enters and is shocked to see Luffy destroying it while they are fighting the animals. Luffy is using Gear 5 and laughing in the middle of the fire that's burning the room. Then he uses Gum Gum no Dawn pistol to defeat the giant snake. On the other hand, Zoro defeats the giant crow. Then the Straw Hat crew enters into the diorama to evade the sun god, but they encounter the giant Iscat again. It's very angry, but they hit it in the head and start riding it while Nami shows them the map that she found. Chopper says, "The cat said I will remember this." Nami says, "Okay, but more importantly, look, we didn't get what we were looking for, but we did find the blueprints of this land of blocks." Sanji says, in other words, a map? And Zoro says, he's coming! In the amazing final double page of the chapter, we see the Straw Hat crew riding Iscat through the diorama town with Sun God chasing them. Town people are in shock when they see the enraged Sun God. "How dare you!" Nami says, "Guys, get ready. If we run in a straight line, there's another mirror ahead. If we destroy it along with the wall, we'll be outside." Luffy says, "Yes, let's get out of here." The town people say, "What? The Sun God is furious." The Sun God says, "You won't get away." End of chapter. No break next week. So yeah, this is the sun god, and in my previous video I thought that this was probably going to be Loki, who's the prince of Elbaf, but now I'm not so sure because we don't know how big Loki was, but you know, since he's the prince, I wouldn't be surprised if he's bigger, since it's being mentioned here that this sun god individual is bigger than a normal giant. But it also mentions that it's a slim giant, and Loki didn't appear to be slim, so unless he lost weight in these last 2 years, I'm not sure if this is him or if it's just some new character. Also, I thought that the Legos were a devil fruit, but now it seems like they're probably not, and they're just like actual Lego blocks that this sun god individual uses to, as it's, you know, stated in this summary, to create like this big jail terrarium for their amusement. But yeah, let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments, guys. Who do you think the sun god is? Let me know. And if you liked it, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.